Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. My name is Midway and I hope you're having a wonderful day, cause I sure am. And welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be talking about how to power level champions in order to use them as food so that you can then level up your champions that you really want to actually get stronger, right? So Raid is a very grindy game. In order to level up champions and start the map, you need to be spending a lot of energy and time leveling up lower tier champions so that they get high enough in stars so that then you can use them as food, as we call it, in order to upgrade the rank so that you can eventually get them to level 60 and they're fully ascended, right? You know the drill. How do you do this efficiently, right? So let's go to the campaign real quick and we'll talk about some tips that might be very obvious to long-term players, but for me as a new player, it completely came as a surprise. So what you want to be doing, of course, first of all, is going through your normal campaign as fast as you can and get to level 12, right? So your level 12 is going to be the level that gives you the most XP, and that is, of course, obviously also going to mean that if you go to hard or brutal or nightmare, those levels are also going to be more efficient. So the higher you go, the more XP you will get. But of course, early on, it's not going to be that easy to get to hard, brutal, etc. So you want to be doing it in a level that you can comfortably clear, right? So in my case, I would be doing this in normal since I'm still pretty damn early into the game, right? Now, once we get to this point, there are some important things you need to keep in mind. So you want to be clearing stage 3, and specifically stage 3 because it's going to be costing a little bit less energy, that's first. And second, it's going to be also dropping shields, which they sell for a little bit more silver than other options of items. So if you, for example, were to clear stage 7, which is going to be giving some more XP, you wouldn't be getting, or rather stage 6, excuse me, you would be getting the boots, which they are a little bit less valuable than the shields in terms of silver. So in that case, yes, it would be a little bit better for XP. Excuse the level 7 thing, completely ignore level 7, just go for level 6. But yeah, the level 6 would be giving you more XP, but a little bit less money, right? So all in all, if you really want to get the most out of the whole thing while you are getting silver, which you will basically need for everything in the game, as well as getting a lot of XP, you would be rather wanting to clear stage 3. Now, important thing about the clearing itself, right? What you want to be doing is to pick up your starting champion, which in my case, that was Elheim. And you want to be leveling it as much as you can as fast as possible. So in that case, it would also mean to get it to 6 stars, level 60 as soon as possible. Now, the reason for that is because that is going to be the champion that you're going to be using to make the clears for you, right? So of course, if you are going to be using your full team like I was doing before, I would be using something like this. And yet then I'm not leveling up anybody, right? So I'm not getting anything out of it. Now, if I am doing this instead, and I am leveling up all these 3 guys, and my main champion is able to clear this whole thing for me, then all these 3 champions, they are getting 25% of the total XP that drops out of doing this run. They would be getting it and leveling up through it, right? Now, the other 25% will be going to my main champion. That is totally unavoidable, but that is, of course, yeah, something that we have to live through, right? So this would be the most efficient setup if my main champion, of course, was able to solo clear the whole thing in order to actually get this done. Now, if my main champion wasn't enough, then you could also do something like this, or whatever, some of the champion that you're going to be able to clear the whole thing with. And then these 2 champions, well, they would be sharing 25-25, so these 2 champions would still be getting 25 each. You could also do something, I don't know, like this, and the equation at the end of the day is that the 100% of the XP is going to be shared among the ones, the champions that are here. So in this case, this champion is getting 50%, this champion is getting 50%. All in all, the optimal way of doing things is to do it just like this. That's pretty much all there is to this simple thing, but there is other ways of more efficiently as well getting resources out of the game in order to be much efficient and just power farm the whole game through it so that you can level up your champions as much as possible. Now, what else you can do? For example, one thing that a lot of people probably haven't thought about much is to give tournaments a bit of a chance as a new player. I myself never really thought about them until I kind of looked at what the requirements are, right? So some tournaments will have a pretty low barrier of entry and you will be able to get a lot of stuff out of them, and more often than not, some of what you would get would be beneficial in order to be leveling up, right? So you might want to take a look at them, see what the requirements are, see if you can actually spend some time and energy into doing things efficiently, right? Some of them will not be that approachable to new players, but a lot of them are. So check them out, look at them. There is going to be some interesting rewards. Right now, there is no tournaments that are really that interesting. So it's not the case that I can show you something that you might be interested in, but give them a chance. Also look at events and stuff like that where you will be getting stuff from them, right? Maybe some chickens, like right here, for example, milestone rewards. You could be doing a little bit of this, upgrade artifacts and accessories to earn points and win rewards. If you put a little bit of silver into that, well, you might as well just get yourself a free rank 3 chicken. And other kinds of tournaments, or rather events, they could also have rank 4 chickens and stuff like that, which is going to save you a lot of time and effort and silver to level up other champions just to use as food. One thing that is also pretty obvious and very important to mention is to get yourself an XP boost if you can. This is going to level up, or rather just double your XP efficiency. You cannot really see it there in the screen because my camera is right in the middle, but it basically reads that XP is gonna be doubled from the battles during the time that the XP boost is active, right? So get yourself one early on in the game. You're gonna be given so many XP boosts for free. Of course, if you use any of the new player kind of codes and QR codes and offers and whatnot, you're gonna be also showered with extra resources, so look for those. And for sure, yeah, that would be straight up just the minimum requirement if you really want to be maximizing your efficient. I guess it goes without saying that I should have mentioned it, so there we go. And one little tip that I think is also pretty important is that you can go ahead and level up one champion that's like level 1 to 2 stars, right? Right now I don't have any because I sold them all, but if you have a 1-star champion, which we might be able to summon some of, and you use 1 brew on them, so let me just go ahead and summon 10 guys, and there we go, we'll see what we get. We'll surely get some 1-star champions, and there we go, we got a bunch of those, right? So go, they're gonna be popping up. So let's now go once again to the champion section. And if we don't have any brews actively, but if we are going to be leveling up this guy and we use 1 brew on them, oh, actually we do have some, so we can do that, and we can see that if I am just going to be leveling them up with 1 brew, that's going to be taking me all the way up to level 7, and then if I spend some more stuff on them, actually I would need a different kind of brew because this one's not good enough. I would need 2 brews. Yeah, that would be immediately getting me to level 10. So in this case, I can straight up just use 2 brews, and that's gonna give me the champion already to 2 stars. It's a way of just saving up energy. That's straight up what I meant. You can just use your 1-star champions, not just straight up use them to use as XP onto other 2 stars. You can use the 1-star and make them into 2 stars by just spending some extra brews. Of course, you would also want these brews for your main champions, but this is a way that you can save up energy, not leveling up these kind of champions in order to just do something else with that energy, right? At the end of the day, energy is going to be your main resource to use in this game, just to be able to squeeze the most out of it, the silver and the XP. So if you are able to save some of that and instead use your resources, in this case these items, to be able to level up some of these characters and turn them into 2 stars, 3 stars and such, go ahead and do it. Be as efficient as possible with your energy, because that is the core aspect of this game, to be a very good player, to be efficient and to get the most out of it. Something else that a lot of people might overlook as a new player is to really think about what champions you want to be leveling up. And that's not just checking out the tier list, is to kind of think how the game really goes, or rather works. You want to have at least 1 champion of each kind that's going to be covering the holes in your setup. So in this game, you're never really just going to have 1 composition of champions for everything. There's going to be many champions that are going to be very weak against certain situations and very strong in others. So you will want to have a little bit of everything, just in case that you want to be participating in dungeons specifically, or you want to be doing 1 part of the campaign specifically. So yeah, it's not to say that you will need to make sure that you have at least 1 tank, you have at least 1 support, you have a good attack champion or 2, you have a very AoE heavy champion, excuse me. So yes, make sure that you are looking for 1 of each, and in that case, even if you're just like trying to cover your weak spots, try to not level something that is very, very bad. If you have a champion that you don't know or are not too sure about it, check out some of the rankings, check out some of the tier lists. A very good resource site for that is Hell Hades, which I'll have a link down there in the description. It's a very good kind of wiki or resource heavy website where you're going to be able to check out stats, ranks, good builds for certain champions. and compare them to other champions, right? So that would be a very, very important resource to have in mind when choosing what to level and what not. And finally, a little side note that I want to put out there is to look for efficiency everywhere, not just in leveling up, getting XP or getting silver. There is many ways in this game where you can squeeze more value out of your energy, which, as I mentioned before, is going to be your main resource and the main issue to just get more of, right? You want to keep playing, you want to keep doing more stuff and grinding and farming. So a little way of doing that is to look at the dungeons specifically, is to try to get the most out of them where you can. And this one might not be that obvious because, well, you know, the way that the Minotaur dungeon works is that when you kill them, you're going to be getting those scrolls assigned at random through your champions. So what happens if you have a full composition and you are farming the dungeon? What's going to happen is that those scrolls are going to be assigned randomly to one of your champions. So what if you have one or two champions in there that you don't really care too much about? One way you can increase that efficiency is by removing those champions, maybe not having champions that you're leveling up in this case in particular, so that those scrolls are going to be put to the maximum efficiency and they are going to be going to the champions that you actually want the scrolls to go. So there's going to be many different avenues in the game where you can find these types of what you call it, nitpick or niche ways of getting extra efficiency out of it, and this is just one of those examples. So that is going to be it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about all these tips down there in the description, if you found them useful and they added some value to your experience playing Raid Shadow Legends. Before you go, please go ahead and check out Aptoide if you haven't done so yet. There's going to be a link down there in the description to learn more about it and how to set it up. But all in all, what Aptoide does is that it's going to be increasing the value of your money. So whenever you spend, or rather buy anything in Raid Shadow Legends and you downloaded Raid through Aptoide, you're basically going to be getting a bonus for any amount of money you're spending, right? You're going to be getting a cashback, and that cashback is going to be something that you can then go ahead and use to make purchases for you instead of using your real money. So just picture it, you got a bit of a, I don't know, 20% bonus, because this bonus can go from 10% all the way up to extra 35%, and you can increase it by doing things like using my code on there as well. Of course, you would help me out a lot if you go ahead and use it. Just picture you have a 20% bonus. Well, you spend whatever amount of money buying something within Raid, as you would usually do if you are going to be spending, then 20% of that value of the item you're buying is going to be going back into your Aptoide wallet. And what's going to happen is that you can afterwards use that extra bonus to make the purchase for you once you do have enough of it in order to actually using your real money. So all in all, it's very good value. Of course, you help me out if you go ahead and use my code, and it's going to be benefiting to you if you just go ahead and do it because, well, as I mentioned, it multiplies the value of your money. So if you're interested in that, well, check out the video that I posted down there in order to know how to set it up. All in all, that's it for me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. See you.